Chris, do me a favor. I'm going to send a link in the voice channel chat. If you could click that to claim your $50 gift card.
Oh my God, dude.
Are you ready for your final journey?
This is the Constant Crusade podcast. We're finally back at it. It's been so long since we've seen each other, talked to each other, talked to you, lovely listeners. I'm EJ Olson. I'm with Nick Durheim.
We are not the weak-willed.
Oh, man. We were rocking out to that last week. Chris Gillyfor.
If you get fished in the year of our Lord 2024, you are a fucking loser idiot, and you deserve all of the heat that you get.
Oh, man. God forbid Chris ever gets fucking hacked. Oh, I'm going to fucking use that one. Oh, buddy.
Just download that for preservation.
I have 2FA on everything. Everything.
I'm behind 4 firewalls.
So it's been a while. We've been kind of doing every other week, which has just been because of circumstance. We were together last week in good old fucking Dundee. In Dundee, as Brandon would say. That's my best Australian accent. That's the best I got for you guys.
Not bad. Not bad.
It's the best I got.
That was serviceable.
So Constant Crusade's back. We've been playing a lot of fucking games. That's pretty much all we're going to talk about. We might get to news. We may not get to news. But we were together last week. Chris, I'm sure we did talk about it on the podcast, but you were just like, I'm going to come back out and fucking do nothing for a few days. And it just happened quick and it came together. And Nick, you and Lindsay booked a deal and we were off to the races. And we had a nice lazy weekend.
It was beautiful. I don't take trips where I get to just relax because I am a doer. And also my wife is a turbo doer. So when we are traveling, we are doing things nonstop. So to just come and post up, even the day I spent with Mom and Nana, we just hung out, went plant shopping, lifted some baskets for Nana with my non-broken hand. And then just big fucking chilled at the place in Dundee, ate a ton of really good food. I think my butthole's finally recovered from all the rich food and pizza rolls that we ate.
What?
I mean,
So many pizza rolls.
so many fucking pizza rolls. It was like homemade biscuits and gravy and scrambled eggs, bowl of pizza rolls. It was handmade egg drop soup pizza rolls. It was yellow curry pizza rolls. It was just like for every delicious, amazing handmade thing, it was a bowl of pizza rolls and a fair amount of like Nerds gummy clusters and Sour Patch watermelons. And I don't eat like that anymore. So I'm recovered from that now, which is great. Cause it was ground zero down there for like 3 days after I got back.
Yeah, there's a lot of junk food. It was a lot of junk junk food, but it was a lot less junk food than I thought based on how, like when Brandon and I hang out for a night or two and it just is Oreos and corn dogs. We ate pretty good, all things considered. Other than the increasingly, like every night it was later and later. It was like, 10:30 is like fine for pizza rolls. Next thing you know, it's like 12:15 a.m. Let's get some pizza rolls.
I think what helped also was there was a very minimal amount of snacking. We had mostly meals.
Yeah.
The things that we did snack on, like corn dogs, that's like a meal. That's a fucking meal. That's calorically similar to a meal.
Yes.
It wasn't like chips. I mean, there were bowls. There were bowls that did get filled with various candies, thanks to Brandon, because he is a madman and he got those watermelon Sour Patches. Ooh-wee.
Oh, so good.
Those are nice. Those are delightful. And you eat too many. You're just going to eat too many.
Yeah, it's nice just to be like, listen, we're going to get together. We're going to do jack shit, play video games, laze around, nap on the communal couch.
We had a celestial
We
event.
saw the Aurora Borealis, like one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed with my own 2 eyes. We got to share that going outside and we're like, is that normal? And these columns of light are just descending from the fucking sky and you could like see the geomagnetic shit happening above you. It was fucking crazy.
I felt like I was about to fight a final boss.
This is coming right after, literally days after I complete the Skyrim Platinum. And the last thing I did in that game is I go to Sovngarde, and when you break through the clouds to fight Alduin and you see the aurora, the mostly purple, and it's like, even now in 2024, I even wrote this whole paragraph in my musings about the game that I'm still sitting on, about the beauty of Sovngarde and how surreal and I'm like, I'm so glad I waited to the end of my journey to do this. And now we're in Dundee where I'm looking up and the sky is fucking red and purple. I'm like,
My skill tree.
oh my gosh. It was great. Of course, I say played video games. I think I played exactly 34 minutes of Smash Bros. And that's all I did video game wise the entire weekend.
That's crazy. We were watching a lot of basketball, but also you were a little tired from that Skyrim play, big guy. You were like, I'm not ready to have a controller right now. And not for want of trying.
I enjoyed just watching Nick putz around on the Switch. You know, he had commanded the TV for quite a bit, and he jumped around doing different things, trying to figure out what he wanted to play. And you eventually settled on something.
I did. I tried a little bit of KOTOR, and we'll see. I might try to go back to it, but that was not the time or place to be playing KOTOR. There's too much dialogue, when too many words are happening, I can't pay attention to the people around me. And like, I want to be a little bit present when playing games. I tunnel vision, I focus. So it gets very distracting if there's like other conversations going on. Y'all were playing like KOTOR as well. And that was nightmare level for me. Like, I cannot be playing a game that you guys are playing at the same time, a game that I'm experiencing for the first time, and you guys are talking about, oh, you gotta do this, and I'm like, I can't be doing this. This is not the way.
In retrospect, we absolutely set you up for failure, and I hope you do go back to it. Top 100.
Please do. Top 10, no less. And yeah, if you have questions, do let me know, because I remember when you stopped, you were running around the apartments on Taurus and getting in some fights. And I was like, where's Karth, Nick? And you're like, I don't know. I'm not even sure I know who that is, let alone where he is. I'm like, okay, are you in solo mode? I don't know what that means. I'm like, okay, great. We'll figure this out later. But
talk about Karth Parnassi. I don't know where he is.
Karth Onassi of the Endar Spire?
Karth Parnassi.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Please do go back and let me know if you're like, I still don't know where the fuck he is. You may have left the apartment, you may have left your like home base without him, which I didn't even know you could do at that point of the game. You may have gone into solo mode and just left him behind somewhere. I will help you figure out where Karth is. You need Karth in the early going. You need party members.
I don't know. I'm just exploring. I'm just walking around. I found some bodies in a medical bay. I don't know. I'm just poking around. Anyway, bounced off.
Wet Leku everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of Leku folds betwixt the shoulder and the neck.
Well, you did KOTOR, and then I had a nice little half an hour watching you putz around Earthbound.
Yeah, Earthbound's a lot of fun. Before I got too frustrated by the lack of sound bar and the TV sound being awful, it's one of those little things that I hear it and then I cannot unhear it, and the leveling that was happening. Oh God, it is frustrating beyond all.
That sucks, man.
You guys both ended up on Animal Well, a game that I would probably rather eat a bowl full of ants than play myself.
Yes.
Are the ants alive or dead?
Alive.
Oh, okay.
For sure. And I say that because the other day I was mowing the lawn and I stepped on an ant hill and my shoes were literally filled with ants, and I didn't realize it until I was like, why do my ankles and feet hurt so bad right now? And I look down and I'm covered in ants and I'm just being stung like a crazy person. So I'd rather put that in my mouth than play this game. But you guys devoured it.
Yes, Chris started before me. He was taking point because he wanted to play this. I was like, I didn't know if I would have enough time before Paper Mario comes out like Thursday. So I'm like, I'm really looking forward to that. I wanted to have a clean plate before I got into that. So I didn't know what the timing was going to be looking like. What did I finish just before Animal Well? I don't even remember. Time is a flat circle, and I do not have rear view mirrors. But Animal Well was really good.
It was awesome. I had started it on Friday when it came out, a little bit at Mom and Nana's. Or did it come out Thursday?
I think it was Thursday.
Yeah, it came out Thursday. Yeah, I started a little bit at Mom and Nana's and was like, ooh, this is really weird and interesting. And once I got out for the weekend away, I had brought the Megaman X collection and KOTOR and wanted to start KOTOR because we've been talking about doing another review of that game for literal years, and I've been looking at my limited run games copy of KOTOR on Switch for now also literally multiple years, and waiting for the right moment. I was like, well, I'm forcing the issue. EJ, still waiting for you to get cracking on that, brochacho. And I started doing Megaman X speedruns and was like, I fell off Animal Well for the weekend, and then got back to it on the flight back. And literally for my entire 4.5 hour direct flight back to Nashville, plus another 45 minutes of being stuck on the tarmac because there was lightning and the ground crew couldn't bring us into the gate. Nonstop Animal Well. It's such an interesting game. I figured I probably would like it, but it's not a game that I would have paid money for. Certainly not at release. Certainly not for a digital copy at release. But not for the desire to branch out in my day one purchases, shall we say. And it's been amazing. I did get second credits. But it's a combat-free Metroidvania, which I think is a subgenre that is going to start to become more prevalent. That you have all these different tools, and the whole ethos of Vanias is exploration, backtracking. Can't get there now, but I wonder how I can get there later. That kind of joint, and puzzles. And then this takes this to the nth degree in terms of how can I use all these little tools in ways that I wouldn't have expected, I have a yo-yo that I can use to hit switches that are around curved corners because the string can bend and make contact with the switch. Cool. Also, it can destroy certain types of environmental impediments like spikes. Also, if you wave it in front of a dog on a treadmill, he focuses on the yo-yo in the other direction and he turns around, and now the series of platforms that were once cascading upward are now cascading downward because you turn him around the treadmill. And that's sort of the ethos of the whole game is play with all of these things, find more interesting ways to use them, and we're going to throw a lot of sometimes subtle and sometimes absolutely opaque, fully frozen over glass shit that you're probably going to have to look up on the internet to figure out eventually. But I had great ass time with this game. Nick, you blew right past me once you jumped into it.
Yeah, I definitely, like I was talking about before, tunnel visioned on this game. I'd have to double check my playtime counter, but I want to say I ended up spending about 18 or 19 hours with this game, with both endings. And yeah, it's Fez was a really important indie game in the platforming and sort of revitalizing that retro style without being a retro feeling. And this game does a lot similar to that with its pixel art aesthetic, but this is not a game that would have ever happened on Super Nintendo. It is so informed by games of the past 15 years that it is incredibly modern, but it also feels like it could have happened on Super Nintendo in an alternate reality.
Like a fever dream
So I think
universe.
that's exactly, or like the what if, but the tools and what they allow you to do in the context of Metroidvania mixed with not even have to worry about combat makes it so that the puzzling can be hyper focused, but also incredibly broad. So even just unlocking in my mind when you get the bubble wand and that you can create platforms in midair, while you're jumping. So you're doing basically shell jumps from Mario, Super Mario World, or morph ball jumps in Super Metroid. It's these things that feel ROM hacky, very informed by those sort of techniques that people discover and then exploit, but the game was built with those exploits in mind, is just really refreshing. And it's something that you can really only get in the indie space. You're not really getting AAA games that have built-in exploits and then also treat the players with respect and saying, yeah, we know you're going to figure this out, and it's awesome that you did. Now let's bend it to your will and take it to the nth degree. And the game expects you to do that to find all of its puzzles. I showed you that screenshot of that room, Chris, that I found. And how do you get through that? Even getting the wheel couldn't get past those spikes. So what it is, I'll tell you, I'll spoil it for you. I'll spoil this because it's still not going to help you do it, because it is a literal technique that you could do with the Frisbee. Is if you jump and near the apex of your jump, you throw the Frisbee, you can land on the Frisbee that you just threw. So you're doing these ridiculous and it gives you this like bud at the very beginning, or a fruit, and it gives you like extra hearts. So you have extra health you have like over maximum health. And it's like, yeah, fucking do it. So you get, 10 tries, and then you start over because there's a telephone in that room. They expect you to try over and over and over. It's like a Meat Boy room. It's so awesome.
I never found that room, as an aside. I finished up and was like, I never got that room that Nick said he was in a blender over. Like, once I got all the eggs, I was like, great, let's get the second credits. And then I went, oh, it goes deeper. I think I'm good. I think that's where I want to stop, because it's just gonna literally be me Googling a bunch of shit. Like, holy fuck, man. You feel so smart, and then they show you something and you go, I don't have a fucking clue what I'm supposed to do with this. Like,
what am I looking at?
But that was the fun of it, is that me, you, Brennan, for, like 3 glorious days before Bren bounced off it in the post game, where we were just like firing screenshots at each other going, what do you think this is? I found this directional code. How do we use this? I found this, series of like emoticon faces in a wheel, and I found them in these different positions over here. Like, I wonder what that corresponds to. And, oh, did you guys see these statues with the map marker icons that have little numbers on them? 1 through 5. It was like, how do we use these? And you're like, I'm drawing on the map. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if, they're going to intersect together. And just, that was the absolute highlight of this game for me, was just trying to plumb the depths of this well, literally, with the boys, putting our heads together, sharing screenshots, trying to figure shit out, and then ultimately going like, damn, there's some stuff that, like the cat cages, literally the only area I hadn't searched in that zone yet. If I had asked for no hints and just continued exploring, I would have fucking figured that one out. So like, great. And then things like the egg song, that if you use the ultraviolet light in the room that you access underneath the peacock, where it gives you the different like numbers that correspond to the animal flute, there are 3 specific like lines on 3 specific notes. And then if you go back into the egg room with the peacock, you turn on the UV light, every single egg has one of those lines on it. So it's a 64 note song that you can play that will unlock something for you. And I was like, I am so fucking proud of myself for figuring this out on my own. I am not writing down 64 directions on my D-pad to play this fucking song. I would rather eat a bowl of ants, EJ, because the animal flute is very imprecise in its directional inputs. So I was like, I'm not fucking with this, but I figured this out. I'm smart as fuck. Thank you, Animal Well, for making me feel smart as fuck. And then it just goes even further than that, even way fuck further than that, with all these hidden rabbits. And I'm like, this is beyond me. I respect the fact that there are sickos who want to go to that degree of figuring this out themselves, but goddamn, the well literally just keeps going deeper all the time.
Also, just want to give a big shout out to the immaculate vibes that this game just oozes.
Great vibes.
It is such great vibes. It is minimalist in a lot of ways. It still invokes, like EJ, you did mention that this genre, Metroidvanias in general, they're all like creepy and weird. And this one is creepy and weird in spades, but it does so with a steady hand, and it is not like over the top. But when you get into the dark, and there's some weird things in the dark, you're like, I don't like this. It's so unsettling. It's incredibly unsettling. There's so much shit that's just happening around you, and you don't know why. Nothing talks to you. Nothing tells you what to do. There's like a tutorial area where it says, hey, you press the B button to jump. That's cool. That's great. And very minor button input prompts. And that is about the extent of the dialogue, quote unquote, that happens in this game.
Oh, man. It's so weird and upsetting without being like a horror game, which I really appreciate, because I think a lot of people that get put off by horror and like jump scares and stuff like this could play this game and be like, oh my God, I'd feel like this is really fucking scary for them. But for me, I'm just like, this is so weird. Like, pulling the disc for the first time and the fucking ghost cat starts like like floating over towards you and wants to eat you, and you're like, I hate that. Or, the sloths sitting in the tree and like throwing things at you with their beady dead little white eyes, or noises coming from places that you're like, where is this coming from? And the monkeys in the dark when you get down to the bottom of the line, the fucking manticore, and the sound, the music in that area is just awful. It's awful. It made me just feel terrible every second I was trying to figure out that stupid puzzle to finish the game up. little just things coming from nowhere that you're like, what the fuck is that? I would love to play this game in like surround sound. Holy shit. I don't know if it's like programmed for it, but that would be so tight.
Pretty sure it is. I play this game on my TV most of the time, and I do have the surround sound set up, and it's good shit. Very, very strange sounds that just are happening all the time. Everything, obviously, it's called Animal Well. There are animals, but they do feel like strange and wild in a way that a lot of games don't really have the balls to actually do. Like, the things around you, they follow rules, but they are also like they're defending themselves. Like, even the monkeys down in the well, like, they're afraid of the light. But if you get close enough to them, they're not going to be harmed by the light. They're going to attack you if you get too close still. So it's stuff like that, or the hummingbirds that want to pop bubbles. And there's even a puzzle associated with that. I shared a screenshot of that. Like, once you get the bubble wand or whatever, the advanced bubble wand, if you just mash bubbles out, its pitch keeps getting higher and higher and higher as it keeps trying to pop all the bubbles. And then once it reaches its apex, you stop blowing bubbles, it goes back to its perch and it has a thought bubble. And that is a puzzle in itself. Like, it's just so much stuff is happening. These animals have their own rules and wants, but you have no idea what they are. And it does not matter for the game at all either. So it's just like, this world is happening and you're doing stuff. You're trying to get out of it. I think you do end up getting out of it. I think, I guess, but also no, but there's this clock and the squirrel had a timepiece. You know, it's just weird shit happening. It's very Lynchian.
It is. It's so dreamlike and surreal. And you're like, I think I know what's going on. And all of the clues are there. That is the thing about David Lynch that really pisses me off sometimes, that people are like, oh, he just puts all this weird shit on screen and it's just all this random fucking weird shit. Absolutely untrue. Absolutely untrue. Everything is a clue. Everything is meant to be considered. And somebody on YouTube feels like he has figured out Twin Peaks and has a 4-hour explainer video where he digs into everything you can imagine, interviews with David Lynch, stuff in the show, piecing together things that he's said, things that he hasn't said, stuff that he said is particularly important, not important. Anyway, all the clues are there in Animal Well, and just getting little bits of things. And I guess with the UV light, there's a lot of additional lore you can find by illuminating different like random wall panels. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go that hard. That's really fucking cool. I'm not gonna go that hard.
I found some stuff.
That's tight. It makes the moments where you discover an animal that's not trying to kill you so fucking cool also. That like one of the first ones that you see, most people, because you can go basically any direction, is dogs. And you're like, oh, it's a little pupper. And you approach the little pupper and the pupper picks you up like a ball, shakes you and throws you on the ground and you take damage. You're like, well, fuck you, dog. Later, you come into a room with fountains and the telephone music, which sounds a lot. The telephone room music sounds so much like Laura's theme in Twin Peaks. Holy shit. Speaking of David Lynch. And there are some capybaras majestically resting by the fountain, just looking at you, just happy to be there. The first time I found the Bobcat room, I was like, this thing's going to fucking destroy me. Not true. Those are not angry sounds the Bobcat is making. They are sad sounds. Because their bobcat kittens are locked in fucking cages. Spoilers for Animal Well. And when you get them out and go in that room and the bobcat is just like smiling at you and is like, thank you so much. I'm like, that warmed my heart in a really weird way for this really weird game that shouldn't be able to warm my heart like this with how little it's actually doing narratively. This game's so tight.
Well, you are also a huge mark for cats.
I am!
So that helps. But the cat sings a song at you. And you receive a tool, which is like the greatest thing you could possibly get in any sort of Metroid game, is like a new way to traverse the terrain or to unlock paths that were previously locked to you. So that is great.
EJ, you've been playing some games. Well, two. What do you want to talk about?
Listen, everybody knows how platinum trophy pilled I have become. But that makes finding games to play difficult because I have to find games that have achievable platinums. I can't just jump balls deep into something that might be fun if I can't complete it. You know, like The Witcher. I'd love to go back and beat that, but not that 250-hour platinum trophy that you have to beat on the highest difficulty. Not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. So seeing Nick bounce around at the beach and, you know, popping into a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, trying to find what feels right at the time. And so I took a little break while we were on vacation. I didn't really play anything other than a little Smash Bros. And a little Jackbox, which isn't a video game. And
All right, I was gonna give you a fucking compliment and be like, EJ, you righted a wrong from the last group trip at the beach where you literally did not win a single round of competitive Nintendo games, and you won a round at Smash Bros. This weekend. But now I have to remove that from the record with a hearty fuck you for your Jackbox slander.
I had fun playing Jackbox. Nick wasn't a part of that, but Lindsay sure added to the fucking deep lore that weekend. That's for sure. With the,
I'm scared to put it in
The toe.
We'll leave it at the toe. Yeah, no, I play Smash Bros. Literally once a year. Last time I played Smash Bros. Chris was last year, and both of the times in the last couple of years I've played, it's like at the end of a long day of like drinking whiskey and beer. And it's like, all right, now get in and do something hyper competitive that you used to be good at. No, don't feel bad about yourself, you piece of shit. So, yeah, no, I did win one in our 6-player Smash, whatever the fuck we were doing.
That's great.
Nick won all the other ones.
Except for the 2 that I won. No, I think I won 3. One of them is super fraudulent though, because Emmy picked fucking 75 meters. And that's not a real match.
Shout out to Sephiroth only.
Yeah, that was a good bit.
Bum, 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 bum.
So other than that, a much needed break, I came home and late, I don't know what night that was, Sunday or Monday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start Hollow Knight. I'm going to start it. I'm going to try it from the beginning on PlayStation for the boys. And so I put about an hour and a half in. And guys, I don't know, man. It's just Metroidvanias aren't for me. But I really appreciate a lot of things about that game. And I feel like I do need to give it another shot. I resolved to not go in with a guide. I want to go into a game like this, and I want to understand why people have fun doing these games. And that means playing it the way you guys play it, which is going in blind and just putzing around and exploring and marking things manually and trying to use, I mean, all these games have such obtuse and annoying map systems. Just trying to keep track of things that most games would just let me pin, okay? And I beat the False Knight, which is like mini boss, presumably. And I bought like all the map upgrades from Homegirl. And I went, let's see, what did I do?
Did you fight the big fly? That is the other first boss.
The big
possibly.
Fly. I don't think I beat a big. That's in the left area, the green.
It's on the right.
On the right, the big fly.
Yeah, there's a big fly. She bounces around the room.
No, I don't think I did that. I thought I cleared the first area. I met the guy, and he gave me the power to shoot projectiles.
Right, the snail shaman.
And I texted you guys. I was like, I don't know, man. It's Metroidvanias. It's nothing against this game, which is number 1 on our Content Crusade Top 100.
So you should beat it, first of all. Second of all,
Fuck.
EJ.
Don't tell me to get a guide. That's not fun. I don't want to fucking read a guide.
Don't worry about how we enjoy that game. You will not enjoy this game the way that we enjoy this game. But if you want to get a sense of what this game has to offer, what the appeal is, the way that it draws people in, you got to get further than 90 minutes. And if I know you, the only way you're going to get further than 90 minutes in this genre is if you know where to go. That's all I'm suggesting. Because what I learned from doing Dark Souls is that knowing where to go doesn't mean you can get there. And doesn't mean that when you get to that boss, you're going to be able to execute that pattern that you need to execute. That's okay. That's where the get good comes in. And there's way less get good in Hollow Knight than there was in Dark Souls, which is like crazy to me, I think. Just do yourself a favor and just know where to go. That's it. Because it's going to make you don't like wandering around and finding dead ends, having your time wasted. I get that. You're a working man. Your time is valuable. I'm gesturing off screen like you could see me. Like, you're a working man. Your time is valuable. Let's use the hand that's on camera. My fucking broken appendage. just do it for yourself. Check your pride at the door. It's a stupid, arbitrary thing you're setting on yourself of, I don't need that thing. Whatever, man. Whatever, man. It's cool. We just want you to spend a little time with this game, and maybe that'll help you get a sense of what makes it so special.
I like the vibes. The music is nice. The art style is nice. But as I'm sitting here playing this game, I'm like, okay, we open this game with like a fucking fake quote from some like in-game lore. I'm like, that's always a great way to establish the world as some gobbledygook bullshit. And then I was just like, this is every other Metroidvania I've played. And again, I don't know the genre that well. I haven't liked almost any of them that I've played. I'm like, this is Ori, this is Child of Light, this is like every indie game. The combat is tight. I got the hang of that pretty quick. And the first time the False Knight absolutely destroyed me. And then I was just like, okay, I gotta remember what kind of game I'm playing. I'm playing fucking Dark Souls. I gotta memorize his 2 attack patterns and lock into, it's not just hack and slash. Okay, boom, went back, killed him. I was like, oh, cool, okay, this feels the way it should. I don't know. I want to understand these because it feels like something's wrong with me.
There is something wrong with you.
No, Nick, shut the fuck up.
Indisputably, there are many things wrong with me, but...
Well, yes, that's true. There's a lot wrong with all of us, but that's for us and our counselors, which I sincerely hope we all have.
Animal Well has an 89 right now, which I'm very glad about because I bid on that game in the Fantasy Critic League, so I'm stoked on that. But I'm watching you guys play it, and I'm like, dude, if someone gave me a copy of this game and said, play this and write a review, I would slander the fuck out of it. Like, I would give it a 4.5 or so. I don't even know. And they've become the indie darling. It's not that I think I can't just be like, oh, these are bad. I just don't get it. I want to get it, guys. Following a guide is not going to help me get it.
You may not get it personally, but if you can at least get it intellectually, then maybe the slander can stop, because it's a fucking great genre, and we are unequivocally in the year of the Metroidvania right now. Between Prince of Persia having the best outing that series has had in a fucking generation or two, between Animal Well, between... what came out?
Silk Song. This year, we promise.
Clown emoji. Yeah, we've got Bo coming. Hopefully that's good. We've got Nine Souls coming. Hopefully that's good. What's the other one that there's something else that came out like February, March. What am I forgetting?
Ender Magnolia sequel.
That did.
Ender Lily sequel.
That's in early access. I don't know what else I'm thinking of.
That has come out already?
Yeah.
There was another Momodora game that came out. I still want to pick that up at some point.
Berserk Boy. Fucking no, that's a Mega Man like Turbo Kid. Fucking landing like an 82. Which is like so stupid that fucking game is an 82. Doesn't matter. Look, there's so much happening right now in the genre that is just like amazing to see it having this huge moment that a lot of the most well-reputed games of the year are in this genre. And I think it's in no small part due to the fact that Metroid is back and that Dread came out and was an absolute fucking banger. Because Prince of Persia in a lot of ways felt like Ubisoft going, can we make Metroid Dread? And trying to make Metroid Dread and not doing quite as good a job of making Metroid Dread as Mercury Steam did.
Metroidvanias are indie game the game. Like all the best indie games are like Metroidvanias.
Yeah. Or Undertale likes.
Easiest to produce, I would think. You don't need a lot of systems. It's a lot more about environmental design, vibes, audio design, and the ways that you interact with the world. I think that's a lot easier for a small developer than making a competent JRPG at Ayuden Chronicles.
Yeah, and then you just make it sad and a little bit obtuse. 10 out of 10.
And that's, I think, part of, and I think I said this to you guys, this is also part of why, like, outside of all of the gameplay and design decisions that just annoy me, and I understand them, and we talked about it on the Metroid Prime Remastered review pod that we did last year. I mean, I understand it. They annoy me. It annoys me. So, like, I get all that, but I think like I said, the Hollow Knight vibes, like, oh yeah, this is nice, but like, this is every other indie Metroidvania I've ever tried to play. And the one that I actually beat and finished and remember fondly was Guacamelee, because it was so distinctly different than every other sad, creepy, weird indie game, Metroidvania or otherwise. It just feels like they're all the same thing. So it's hard for me to come to Hollow Knight and be like, yeah, this is the best game ever, apparently. And it's is A, more of the frustrating thing that I already know that I don't like, so I can't hold that against the game. But B, just more of the same vibe that so I tried. And I even feel like I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm frustrated. Fuck this game. And then I was like, okay, but what if I just go back and try to beat that boss one more time? So I had a little bit of that pull. I was like, okay, all right.
That's growth, baby. That's growth. We praise that.
I seek understanding. That's all. Okay.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, you're broken inside, and so Metroidvanias don't hit. No. In all seriousness,
for the boys back home, I tried.
No, it's not your genre. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Like I said, you will never intrinsically understand the appeal of these games, as a genre, as a design ethos, and that's okay.
To me, like when we talk about something like Dark Souls, and I'm like, okay, I understand. And for me, I even enjoy fighting things. Combat is the focus of those games. And even though, you say that, oh, Dark Souls is more of a Metroidvania, it's about the exploration. It's about fighting things. Everywhere you go, there's a thing to fight. And every encounter is different, and it's difficult, and it demands patience and a keen eye and understanding of the physics of the world. I'm like, okay, I get that. These kind of games, it's about exploring, and the combat just seems kind of to be there. And so I applaud Animal Well for just saying, okay, we're not going to do combat. We don't need combat, because that's not what these games are about. And I appreciate that, even though I will never play it. So I feel like I haven't gotten any closer to really getting my finger on the pulse, but I tried. And so that was the first of many as I putzed around trying to find something to really sink my teeth into. Beat Metal Hellsinger. We don't need to talk about that yet.
Yeah, let's not. Metal Hellsinger.
EJ, getting you to like a Metroidvania would be like convincing our moms to like deathcore.
That seems extreme, but like you're on the right track.
Really? It seems extreme. After the rant you just uncorked about all these fucking games are the same, it's all just sad, spooky, vibey crap. No, come on.
It rings to me similar to like, you're just not going to like it. And I appreciate you wanting to give it the college try for the boys back home, for us, your boys. But it's to hear you denigrate one of our favorite games of all time, clearly it's disheartening. And it reminds me of like, oh, why do you like this? It's like, I kind of get it, but like, I don't like it.
All these bands sound the same. They're just screaming. It's just noise.
I'm not so much saying, why do you like it? I'm saying, why don't I like it?
Because you're different. I don't know.
Yeah, I just quit treating it like a puzzle to be solved, which is, I guess, maybe appropriate given the genre that we're discussing.
That's the whole point.
Just either, this is what I want from you. This is all I want from you. Well, that's not all I want. I want you to fucking play KOTOR, because I'm going to be really pissed if I blow my load on a replay and you don't fucking do it. We can't talk about it on the podcast, because I've been waiting to do this. No, that's one thing I want. The other thing I want is for you to either stop trying. And I mean that so seriously, because you don't have fun with it, and I don't like seeing you not have fun. It hurts me. You can't see my eye, but look at the sincerity in that eye right now. And I saw that fucking screenshot you posted with me being like full Warriors, ass DJ ass lady, whatever her name is. Either just let it go and release it and go, it's not for me, which we love and fully accept. There's nothing wrong with you. I do not believe, and I'm quite sure Nick agrees with me, in this specific regard, there's not anything wrong with you. As covered, there's plenty wrong with all of us.
You sure about that?
Well, no. Or commit that you are going to play the whole fucking thing by hook or by crook, by guide or by guile, whatever it takes. Commit to doing it. I want you to pick one of those roads, and I want you to go down one of those roads and be okay with going down that road. And we will celebrate you regardless of which road you go down. But yeah, man, it hurts a little bit. It's not fun. It don't feel good.
You know what I like about Metroidvanias, EJ?
What's that?
That I don't know if you can possibly like, if you can train yourself to like, but I like getting lost. I like not knowing where to go and then finding where to go and feeling like, is this right? And you fight something, you're like, I can kill this. This must be right. That's the best feeling in Dark Souls. That's the best feeling in Hollow Knight. It's the best feeling in any Metroid game I've ever played. is finding and feeling like you are matching wits with the game designers.
Very well put.
But if that's not what you want, can you train yourself to want that? I don't know. Can I train myself to like eat pickles and like pickles? Maybe. Do I want to? Probably not.
You don't like pickles?
No, they're weird. Just give me a cucumber, dude. Cucumbers are good. Why'd you go and ruin a cucumber? It's like the same thing with raisins. Why'd you ruin a grape?
Okay, all right. We're about to come fully unglued on the Call to Crusade podcast right now.
Listen to
All right.
No.
Okay, are dill pickles the Hollow Knight of the culinary world? I need an answer.
Nick and I are scared to. They're like, how do we play this? No, I'm
I
not.
love
I'm
pickles.
not. I'm not wading into that.
All that to say, listen, I could sit here and rant about all the things that I know I don't like about the Metroidvania genre, and we've talked about it at length, and what I do like in open worlds that don't tell me what to do, and they're distinctly different. It's funny. It's like being dropped into a Metroidvania and being dropped into a fucking open world RPG like Skyrim. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, you fucking figure it out.
No, I think it's the opposite. Open world games don't tell you no. Metroidvanias tell you no over and over and over.
That's a good way of putting it. Maybe that is what it is. In an open world RPG, everywhere I go is a yes, and it's just up to me. I don't feel the FOMO of like, am I missing something? And I put this video in the chat, one of the Discord channels last week, that this guy, he did a video essay kind of thing, the fear of missing content. It is a great video, and he articulated all these things that I have not quite been able to pinpoint or like adequately convey using words because I'm bad at that. I was like, oh my God, he wasn't even talking about Metroidvanias for the entire video. Like, he was talking about the kind of games. He used Final Fantasy VII Remake as an example. He's playing games that I like. The video game, the third-person action-adventure RPG lights. And I was like, oh my God, he's saying all these things. I'm like, this is why I can't vibe with Metroidvania. And then he's like, Hollow Knight, which is one of my favorite games ever. And I was like, oh my God, we're on the same page here. And so anyway,
I gotta watch that too to try to
a worthy watch.
Understand you better.
But the overall point of that video, I feel that like every time you come to a split path in a dungeon, you're like, fuck, shit. And the whole point of it was sort of like video games being at odds with themselves. Tell this story that we like handcrafted, but also giving the player agency to do things. And those things are like rarely in line with each other, which is, I think, part of what, Nick's whole point about video games are the worst medium to tell stories in, like, has some validity. Anyway, totally tangential. I tried Hollow Knight. I feel like I will probably go back and try it again, but I got very sidetracked with some other games, which I'll talk about later. Because we just ranted about fucking Metroidvanias for way too long.
Or the appropriate amount of time, since it is the #year of the Metroidvania.
Nick, is it the year of the Metroidvania or is it the decade of the Metroidvania?
It's always been Metroidvanias.
Always has been.
Shit.
It's their world. We're just living in it and slowly realizing it over time and failed paths that we don't know are failed until we get to the dead end.
Maybe that's why I don't like them. It's too close it hits too close to home. It's too real. That's everyday life.
It's just like real life. I don't have the missile upgrade.
Fuck.
Everywhere I turn is a dead end. Where's the correct path?
Nick, what have you been playing? Post Animal Well.
So, yeah, I looked at my Switch just to double check. I was deep into a Dark Souls playthrough with my boy Chris. So that was what I was playing before, Animal Well.
Yeah.
And Unicorn Overlord as well. So yeah, I was on these big, expansive RPGs. Animal Well was a great sort of palate cleanser from that. Pretty brief in the grand scheme of things. Pretty long for an indie game. Spent about 20 hours with that, a little bit under. But because we are all Fantasy Critic pilled, and I go into that Discord server primarily to check the game news Discord bot they've got going to see when games get review scores, when they go up by more than a point, down by more than a point, etc. And I saw a game that I had actually seen people talking about on Twitter as being like, oh, this is the new hotness. This is the shit. This week, this is the indie game week. We've got all this bad, terrible news from these giant corporations firing hundreds of people. But indie games are thriving. Here's what we have to offer. So we had games like Animal Well, like Little Kitty Big City, EJ, that platinum could be yours. That is knocking on the door. That is scratching at the door. And it's time for you to let it in. Let it into your heart. But another game that came out was We Bait, and it's anime as hell, and it's a walking simulator. So obviously, I decided I'm going to check the shit out. And counter to what I was talking about earlier about narratives and video games being opposed, I think they are largely. I think this game could work as like a TV show, but it would not be as impactful. And it does a lot of interesting things with its storytelling married to the way it presents itself as a game, playing with perspective, playing with how you control your character, who you're controlling, all those kind of things. And it's like, so the game I've been playing, long story short, is called 1000X Resist. 1000 Cross Resist? I don't think so. I think it's 1000X Resist. I believe it's a Canadian developer based on developers like of indie games generally writing more personal kind of stories. It's got some personal like tints to it. It feels like a lot of the story is from a place of experience, but it's also wrapped around or wrapped within a very like young adult sci-fi kind of vibe. So it focuses on you playing this character who is known as Watcher, and you are in this sci-fi future dystopia where aliens of a unknown sort of origin have arrived on Earth and brought with them a disease that killed everybody except for one girl. And this girl was experimented on. They tried to get a cure from her. And it seems like maybe she teamed up with the aliens communicated with her, and she said, screw all these people who are ruining my life. I don't want to be the chosen one. So instead, I'm going to create like a new society based around me. And she created clones, and these clones all have different roles. So as a watcher, your role is to observe. So you do that very much so in this game. You're passively sort of embodying these memories that are played back to you. And there's like some time travel sort of elements of you jumping from different times in memories as like a light puzzle mechanic, sort of to experience the narrative in a less linear fashion. But largely it is just you walking around and talking to people and having this oblique sci-fi sort of story unveil before you. And I'm finding it very interesting. I'm really enjoying the story. It dives personal in ways that are cool. And I like the touches and the pathos that is conveyed through it. And I've been playing it, and Lindsay's not really like paying attention fully, but she's in the room with me and she's like, I'd probably really like this game. And I'm like, yeah, you probably would really like this game. It's got like, so Life is Strange is a very popular video game Chris likes.
Loved it.
So that is like CW melodrama in a video game. And this has a lot of that like sort of YA melodrama storytelling beats, but it's also more anime. So my touchstone, because I am very basic when it comes to anime, is I get a lot of Evangelion vibes from this, as far as like, yeah, this larger than life sci-fi stuff is happening. But what really matters is that this boy is depressed and he doesn't have parental figures, and that sucks. And he's trying to, be a person, and that's hard. And that's what a lot of this is. It's like being a person is hard, and past traumas tend to just keep happening. Like the things that happen to your parents will happen to you, will happen to your predecessors, your successors. So yeah, highly recommend. It's really cool.
I am blown away that this has a 91. It's only 5 reviews right now, but if I had watched this trailer after someone like had bid on it in Fantasy Critic, for example, this would have been like prime counterpick material. So that just goes to show that A, I don't know anything about anything, and B, a good script is often more important than anything else about not just video games, but film and television as well.
Yeah, and this is the kind of game that I do not know how you could make a trailer that would be appealing to us as like more normal video game enjoyers, I guess.
Normies.
We're normies. We are super normies, and that's fine. But this game, I think it's going to find its audience. I think it's going to be very successful in what it's doing. Clearly, the people who stand for this sort of game have found it and have reviewed it 5 times. So I don't know. I like to try different things, especially in a genre that I don't experience a lot, and I want to expand my horizons. And I think the script is really strong. It is really well written. It is very well performed. The pacing, like my one problem with it so far is that dialogue does not auto skip ahead. Like you have to keep pressing A, and that's a bummer because I want to like chill, big chill, eat popcorn, and I got to do the left-handed. And then switch hands because I still have to like walk around and I make decisions by using the left stick and like tilting it in a certain direction and then pressing A. And that's a bummer. Like I wish Earthbound had this figured out 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Let the L button be the confirm also. Let me do this one-handed. This is a story game. Let me enjoy your story one-handed, popcorn in hand, big sipping on a sody pop. You know, like that's what I want.
This is such a good segue. I am, as I said earlier, up to the hilt in Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch, and I have been waiting. My limited run copy, geez Louise, I think I got that in Greensboro, so it's literally been like 2+ years at this point. I've been waiting for this replay, and I was like, we're going to be the Kodor boys at the beach, and there were 3 of us. EJ was unfortunately not among us. You were recharging. That's fine. That's okay. It's okay now. It's going to increasingly be not okay. But that's another conversation. Nick's trying it. Brandon's jumping in. I'm jumping in. Last night, Nick, we were getting unpacked, and I was like, where are the drugs? I would really like to eat an edible and relax into some Kodor. And then Tiffany and I had a like yakety sax escapade of looking through every single bin for where she hid all of the pot edibles, because she's like, no one can find this. So like my students were helping me move, and like I'm fairly transparent about it, but she's like, just in case, like these are gonna be really well hidden, and they were. So we got them out. I'm sitting down, and I'm like on Dantooine, and I'm chatting with Canderous, who's a Mandalorian who fought in the Mandalorian Wars against the Republic, and he's telling me all these war stories.
Is that a sativa or an indica? Dantooine.
That's great, man. Dantooine would probably be a sativa. No, an indica, because it's indica.
So what about Canderous Ordo? Also, shout out to the pre-Disney canon. The Mandalorian Wars, baby! You're awakening something in me.
So much better than any of the shit that Filoni did in Rebels. And he took the best parts of the Mandalorian Wars from KOTOR 1 and 2, diluted them down to the lowest common cartoon denominator, and vomited them out to Disney Channel. I don't want to talk about it. So listen to Canderous Ordo tell these war stories, and I'm just fucking... I read really, really fast. I prefer to consume things visually than orally because I could just got it. I sat back. I didn't skip shit. I had my snacks. I had my water. I was stoned. And I'm just listening to this guy spin yarns about the Mandalorian War. And I'm like, this is one of the best written games I have ever played still. And the voice acting on every single fucking main character, side character, party member, it's all fully voiced, and it's all really fucking good. Some of the alien languages, like, you know, you get used to the same like 5 or 6 things from all the male Twi'leks, right? Like, I don't want to need the bubble. Ka chiku. Mucho shark bug. Like, you get those like 7 million times, right? It's like, fine, whatever. But also, it's still all fully voiced in this like Twi'lek dialect. So I'm just listening to this game, and I'm like, son of a fucking bitch, this game holds up. Just in all of the ways that a game that is so intensely narrative driven and laid the foundation for everything BioWare did after this, it's still so goddamn good at what it does. So I'm way into my KOTOR replay. That's my intro, my soft intro to me replaying KOTOR. I probably played this game like 7 times. It's on my personal top 10. Probably top 5 if it's not. After coming back to this, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be if ever we revisit the top 10s. And at this point, I played this game so many times, like I want to get myself a little bit of a challenge. Light spoilers for KOTOR. After the introductory planet, Taurus, which is kind of a long introductory planet, you head to a Jedi enclave on Dantooine where you receive training in the ways of the Force. And then you can start to, on your level up, select Force powers. Before you leave Terrace, there is only one level up that is required by the game that you do. And that is on the Endar Spire, which is even like the tutorial area before the quote-unquote tutorial planet, the first planet, Taurus. You can beat Taurus with your party, your main character at level 2. If you do this, all of your XP and all of those levels stack up. So when you get to Dantooine and you receive Jedi training, all of the levels you didn't spend on Taurus, you can then spend on Dantooine and can select Force powers at every single level in which one of them is prompts you for a Force power based on the way you distributed your stats and what that means for the frequency of getting attributes and skills and feats and powers and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm going to do a level 2 run on Taurus. I had only done it once before. It is very challenging, especially in some areas like the dueling arena where it's just you versus one other NPC. It's you're really relying on your party members doing a level 2 Taurus run because your MC is going to die a lot because they're a fucking paper tiger. But I did get through Taurus. I did the full dueling arena, including the deathmatch against Bendak Starkiller, which took a lot of just fucking reloading saves in the arena, trying to get that good run of keeping my shields up and my med packs in place, getting grenades out, getting good RNG with stunning him on concussion grenades so that I could throw like my plasmas to do like big damage to him. And literally 7 levels worth of Force powers I would not have received if I'd have leveled up on Taurus, which totally fucking makes it worth it. Cause then you go out into the game and you're so fucking OP. This is a dark side playthrough for me. When we did the last KOTOR 1 and 2 replay for pod, RIP, the KOTOR pod, I did a light side playthrough. So I'm like, great, I'm gonna be Space Hitler this time. And if any opportunity to be just a total piece of shit, I'm taking it. Already fully maxed my dark side points before I even left Dantooine. So I have like a perk on my character screen for being like fully down in the depths of the dark side. So I've already got like drain life and wound and slow, 2nd tier Force lightning, 2nd tier Force push, Force whirlwind, which is such a great stun lock. And then I could just like pop flurry. This game's so good. I just fucking love this game. It is amazing at what it does. And I totally get why some are put off by the whole, the way that the combat functions. It's a D20 system. You don't see the D20 rolls, but it's just alternating turns with your opponent, stacking commands, and then the hidden rolls dictate the damage that you deal, which means that sometimes, especially in the early going, you're going to miss sometimes because your opponents are making saving throws, which if you're familiar with D&D, you're very familiar with saving throws. The combat's just D&D. And I get why some may be turned off by the sort of my turn, your turn thing and pausing combat to stack commands for different people. Doesn't bother me at all because I'm so familiar with it at this point, but everything else, like the narrative, the interactions with the party members, the way their relationship grows with you, and just the overall story, like this is just a fucking Star Wars joint. Here is a fucking galaxy in crisis level plot, a really good bad guy, interesting party members that all have clear skin in the game, off searching for these MacGuffins on all these different worlds. They give us a little bit of familiarity. Like we go to Tatooine. This is like thousands of years pre-Republic, pre-Empire. So it's just a fucking backwater outer rim world with like a colony anchor. You're not even in Mos Eisley. You're in Anchorhead. Middle of fucking nowhere Tatooine, because it was the middle of nowhere in the Outer Rim. And then a bunch of new worlds that are all really interesting and beautiful. Getting to see like Kashyyyk more fully realized and like Wookiee politics and the way that like that like tribe system works. Like, Jesus fuck Christ, this game is unbelievable. And part of me really wishes that I could get the like 12 episode KOTOR limited series of my dreams. Or like a 3-4 season type joint where we're spending like 6 episodes on every planet. But I don't want Disney to ever touch or use this property because they will fucking ruin it. So I want it and I don't want it at the same time. It's a weird place to be. And I'm just really thankful I can play this on modern hardware. I can undock it. I can play KOTOR on the go. I can play Knights of the Republic on a handheld console. This is the greatest fucking thing for me and just re-cements the Switch as the most goatiest fucking goat console of all time in all of the stuff that we have access to on this. The only thing that will make it better is EJ starting his playthrough so that we can talk about it on the podcast.
My biggest regret is losing the KOTOR pod, the 3-hour KOTOR pod.
It's okay. We can move past it. We can rebuild. We have the technology. Please, EJ.
I have such PTSD, dude. Fucking seeing you on Taurus. I said this at the trip. Just seeing you back there.
Half the game.
Dude, literally in my mind, it's fucking half the game.
You can do Taurus in 3 hours. I would bet you money you could do Taurus in 3 hours. Because you're not going to be like, Nick, it's going to take you probably like 5 to 6. Because you're going to want to like explore. You're going to want to talk to people in the way that like I don't need to, because I don't need to get that like little piece of planetary lore from this one person. You don't have a quest for me, so I'm fucking moving on past you. Please, EJ, dude, come on.
I wish I remembered half of our conversation, whenever that was, a couple years ago now. But I do envy being able to go back and experience that. Really, for what was I think the first time in my adult life. I wish I'm jealous of 28-year-old EJ, and I wish I could go back and like really see this game through a new lens for the first time. And now going back, it's gonna feel much more like going through the motions. And I just can't replay games quite the way that I think you can, the way you revisit a lot of your favorites. I'm not able to really do that. So I'm kind of, at first I was kind of excited, and then seeing you in Taurus, I started to really dread the idea of going back and playing this game to completion again. But I'm going to try. Chris is so deflated right now.
Is there a platinum trophy for this game, EJ?
No, not on the Switch.
Play it on PlayStation.
Download it on PS4.
It doesn't exist on PS4.
Are you sure? Why not?
That sounds wrong.
I mean, I believe it, but also why?
I don't know.
Is there not a PlayStation 3 version or something?
It's not on PlayStation, no.
Brother.
Until the Switch, the only console it's ever officially been ported to was the original Xbox.
And the iPad.
Not a console.
iPad.
Well, I will tell you, hearing you gush about the script for this game, and man, a lot of games do not do it like that. And of course, we're so, I don't want to say blinded by nostalgia, but I imagine someone coming to this game for the first time would probably think differently of it. But there's just so much to appreciate about those characters and how they wrote that world in a way that like I haven't really appreciated about a lot of modern games. Like I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, and I think I may have said this when I tried to play it a couple years ago. Dude, it's just like you get to these cutscenes, and there's like these PS2 ass cutscenes where it's just like one camera angle, and it's kind of soulless, and you're just like, I don't know if this is necessary to my enjoyment of like the actual gameplay loop. It's something like KOTOR. That story is so important to what you're doing in that game. So I kind of miss that. And I wish there were more games like that. And maybe I'm just not playing those kind of games. But the games that I think pride themselves on doing that really well, that I have played, something like The Witcher, for example. I'm like, dude, that was the third game in a trilogy. I didn't fucking know any of those characters or those places or anything about this world. So I couldn't even come close to appreciating it, even if it was done well relative to a lot of their contemporaries. I don't know, because I'm just so lost in this sauce because I don't know any of these people. So it's definitely something that I'm missing. I don't know, will KOTOR scratch that itch?
Yeah, it will. Look, I'll tell you whatever you need to hear for you to do this, man. I just so desperately want to do a goob of KOTOR. I'm on Tatooine. I'm not that far ahead of you either, with the way you like lock into stuff and can slam stuff out. I mean, you did like 120 hours in Skyrim in like 3 weeks, like something totally preposterous and impressive. You could catch up to me in KOTOR. So you're doing Tsushima, huh?
Yeah. So I won't deep dive too much on it. I will say, I know it's been 4 years since the release of this game, and it just came out on PC, but man, I am really in Japan. The weather effects and the lighting effects, and like every blade of grass is so perfectly rendered. I'm like blown away at how much detail there is. I'm like, this is just such a beautiful place to be. They attempted to make a lot of the sort of tropey elements of these kind of games, the Ubisoft special, so to speak, make all these different elements way more immersive, like minimal HUD and, instead of waypoints, the wind guides you. We've talked about this, again, the last time I tried to play this game. But I'm appreciating that more now and sort of poking around the edges and being like, oh, even some of the HUD elements when you're like interacting with her, like sneak along this person and look over the edge and like you have to move the camera to a fucking waypoint out in the distance and it triggers a cutscene or whatever. And it's like, there's like, why am I doing this? But even the way they implement those HUD elements, they just feel so like of the world instead of just being like, no, here's a white overlay with a square button, I'm like, oh man, that's really cool how much effort they put into making everything feel like it belongs in this world. The combat is great. There's a little bit of strategy of like identifying which kind of enemies you're fighting, and what weapons they're using, and having to like on the fly quick make adjustments to your different stance and play styles. I'm just having the same issue I had last time. I can't really find anything like overwhelmingly wrong other than like the shitty PS2 cutscenes, and it just is not grabbing me. Like I'm trying really hard, and I'm just like, no, it's the same thing happened last time. People were gushing about this game, and it's sort of the promise of Assassin's Creed kind of fully realized in a lot of ways, but it's just not. It just doesn't have a tux in me. Oh, and I want it to, but it's just not. I don't know. I'm like, there's nothing wrong here. This is the kind of game I really like. Why? I don't know. I think it's a game you would fucking love, Chris. Honestly, again, being an Assassin's Creed fan.
Nate platinumed this game. Nate does not platinum any games.
He got that Nintendo plat for Tears. Boy found 10,000 Korok seeds.
Right?
Yeah, he did. Nate went hard on Tears. And I'm glad he finally finished it so we could talk about it. Yeah, I know. I need to get a copy of this, for sure.
Yeah, I think you would devour this game. And, the not that I fucking know anything. Like, what do I know about feudal Japan? Like, I don't know fucking anything, but it feels very faithful to like, and respectful of the culture. Assassin's Creed doesn't always do that. Assassin's Creed just, like, I just have this fucking picture of like, you're Connor in Assassin's Creed 3 and you're riding a fucking horse with Paul Revere on the back and you're like running through town while Paul Revere freaks out and yells, "Oh, they're coming." And it's just like fucking so corny and disrespectful and lame. And obviously this is not like, based in Assassin's Creed likes to base things in some modicum of reality and then completely twist it. This game is not doing that, but it feels so much more respectful to the culture and the time period. And I appreciate that as well. So I don't know. It's not grabbing me. So I don't know if I'm going to see the platinum through the end. And part of that is because I just got fully Sea of Thieves pilled again, grinding that platinum out. And I went from 0 to 89% in like a week, just crushing that game with our buddy Drew.
Maybe, hear me out, you could just beat Ghost of Tsushima and then stop playing it.
Yeah, I don't need to platinum every game I play. And we were talking about this.
Say that again.
I don't need to complete every game that I play.
Say it again.
Listen to me.
This is a therapy exercise. Say it again.
No, I talked about this when we were together. I don't think I said it on the podcast. But I'm trying to figure out the timeline of when I went from like, because I've always been a completionist. Since I was a kid, I've always had this mindset of I need to do everything. And what happens is I'm not able to do everything and I just bounce off things. Or conversely, I'm really loving something. I'm loving it, devouring it, and I roll credits, fucking done. I'm done. That's it. I roll credits, I'm done. The game's over. And in a game like Zelda, when you can roll credits in 9 hours, you know what I mean? Like, I think game design has shifted so much in the last decade and a half that if rolling credits is your metric for beating a game, you were going to be missing out on so much. And that stresses me out. And 100%ing something is often not super realistic. Trophies and achievements are this beautiful middle ground where it almost always requires that you do some handful of collectibles and you have to beat the story. So I gotta see everything I need to see. And a good platinum does not force me to like do like Skyrim. I didn't have to 100% Skyrim. That would have been insanity. It'd be crazy. But I did everything there is to do in that game, and I feel like there's a logical endpoint. I rolled credits at the appropriate time, and I don't know. It's just something about incentivizing me to play, getting me to see everything a game has to offer, and it is routinely achievable in a way that it wasn't before for me. And I felt like I was constantly missing out on things or not finishing things. And that turns my hobby into a stressful thing. And I'm in a really good spot with it now. There are very few games where I'm like, oh, I got to platinum this game. Like, I have fun doing it. I get to the end, I'm like, damn, what a satisfying romp. Sometimes you get a Star Wars Battlefront Legacy Collection or whatever, and it is not fun. And you just take your medicine and finish it. But most of the time...
Yeah, see, that's just it, man. And I, listen, completionist, me, hi, it's me, it's this guy. So 100% pilled. It's not even fucking funny. It took a lot for me to just decide I'm not going to do this. And, I think it was when I was in Utah. I was going through my backlog that fall. I was like, oh my God, I'm done with school. I have all this fucking free time. Even with my classes and exercising, I'm still just like, I have all this time. And I put Yoshi's Crafted World and did like 2 more levels of getting every single flower and all the Poochie Pups and all the little findoms, and was just like, I'm either not going to finish this game or I'm going to give this up. I got so many games out of my backlog that fall just by beating the game and putting it away. So maybe part of the curation process for you needs to be, what is something that roll credits is roll credits? That you're not going to miss out on stuff. Like a Knights of the Old Republic. Where are the things where you are going to be fully satisfied with your experience and not get that FOMO? Because the FOMO is so powerful. And
it is.
Again, 100%
it feels bad.
It does. It feels terrible because you're like, damn it. Did I really beat this game? And then the pressure's coming from other people of like, oh, well, you didn't get this thing and that thing. And it's like, but that, it's all external and you socially constructed and fake and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to think more about this.
I'm here to offer you a third path, EJ. And that is give in to your base desires and only play the multiplayer mode of Ghost of Tsushima. Get Brennan, call him on the phone. He'll do whatever you ask him. Tell him download Ghost and just do the little horde mode, fight him thing, and enjoy the game that way, because apparently you like the combat. What if you liked it playing with a friend and just beating shit up? And then you play that for 10 hours and that's the game. That's it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I'll see if I'm about to finish up the first act, which I'm like 25 hours into the game. So I'm about to finish up that first act here, and then I'll see if it's something I want to continue or not. It's another one of those mysteries. Everything this game does, it does better than most of the other games in its genre that I've played. I don't know why it's not grabbing me. I don't know. And then a game like Sea of Thieves, I can just completely I'm playing that game and I'm sitting here just making a mental checklist of like everything about this game that is just fucking terrible. But I'm addicted. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no making sense of my brain.
It's multiplayer and it's popcorn.
You're playing with the homies and it feels good. That's it. It tastes great, less filling. It's just the social aspect cannot be ignored. And I've enjoyed that too.
Which is why I'm saying Ghost multiplayer. Just cut out all the chaff that you don't actually care about, and then actively, you're not loving it. So it's not the thing that's drawing you in. It's not the hook that you want. It's not the next thing, that the carrot on the end of the stick. So just focus on the one thing, cut out all the rest, and play with a friend. So Sea of Thieves, if Sea of Thieves had like a lot more game and was like a single player experience, you would hate it. Most people would hate it. But because it is just doing the thing that it wants to do and does well, and it's multiplayer, boom, success.
We'll see if I get there. No, Sea of Thieves, been playing a lot of that. I'm going to probably get to platinum this week. We'll see how the rest of it goes. There's the last couple are kind of grinders, a lot of RNG. But Chris, you hopped in with Drew and I. This is my first time playing with Drew. He just got it on PlayStation for the first time. We put so much time into this game on PC years ago. It's been kind of refreshing to hop in with some new people, I'm
having a great time, and it's been nice to be in chat with Drew, playing something with Droopy. And he's played a ton of single player in this game since it came out on PlayStation, and offered some stuff that you didn't even know, which was really cool, like mapping things to the D-pad. And you're like, holy shit, that's game changing. Totally is. This game is fun. It's not good. But it's super, super cool to be in with the boys, sailing the high seas and going on quests, looking for treasure, looking for keys, looking for loot, and then just feeling really sweaty the whole fucking time, knowing that at any given moment, some asshole who's flying Reaper could come in looking for your emissary after they fucking sink you, trying to we had a whole 15-minute chase the last time I played with y'all, where we were trying to get to a merchant island where we could drop our emissary flag just so that the ship flying Reaper that had been tailing us for that whole fucking 15 minutes could not get the satisfaction of getting that flag from us to advance their rank in Reaper. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this means at this moment in time. I'm just in the crow's nest with my spyglass, they're not getting any closer, but they're not getting any further. And then Drew and EJ just going, when we get to the island, we got it. Because it takes, you need a 2/3 vote. You need a majority vote to lower the emissary flag. And y'all running. And then as somebody has literally just shot himself out of a cannon from his ship to board us, you both just screaming in triumph that you'd lowered flag in time so that when I got wasted and they set fire to the ship and it sank in the harbor, it mattered absolutely nothing at all to us.
We're not losing all that progress. Oh God, what a relief.
It was great. And loading up, doing that treasure hunt with y'all and going, oh my God, the first of the 6 map pieces we got is the X on it. That's so fucking lucky. Amazing RNG. The second map piece gave us enough to figure out which island it was so we could go find it. And doing that treasure hoard room where we're just dumping chests and collectibles down and Brandon shuffling them out of the chamber that's going to close in a certain amount of time, picking up gold piles, Drew solving a puzzle. And then even after all that, it's we got to get it on the ship. We got to get it to port. We got to load it in the rowboat. We got to harpoon it off the rowboat. I was like, this is a really cool loop. I like this. It feels tense, but not, punishing or unfair. That if something happens, we got and we deserved it. If we could not hang with, another ship that's coming to try to, plunder our booty, so to speak. This is a fun, silly little rare game. Tiffany, as I'm on the tutorial island, goes, this music sounds like Banjo-Kazooie. I'm like, haha, rareware. Very seriously doubt it's the same composer, but, that whole rare aesthetic of the, type shit. She spotted it in a fucking second, immediately.
It's one of those games where it does do some things well. The aesthetic and the setting, it's a very pretty game despite being sort of cartoony.
Polygon chic. Because it's blocky as shit, but it looks like they did it on purpose.
I really enjoyed the aesthetic. And the music is great. It's just such a nice world to be in. Just that loop of I need more gold. I need to make more money. Let's go on an adventure and rinse repeat. And of course the ever present threat of the PvP keeps you going. Last night we got all the hits. We went on a couple very successful journeys, about $500,000 a piece. We made tons of money last night, tons of gold, and then we get into an encounter with a Reaper. They fuck us up. I'm so tilted. And I'm playing with Drew and my buddy Spencer, who, they don't know each other, and we were kind of feeling each other out for the first time, and we get wrecked by these total chuds, and I was so tilted, guys. I'm like, I have never been this tilted, playing Call of Duty even. I was mad, and I had to chill, and we got back into it. We did another little thing, and we were all just kind of burnt out, and we pull into port to sell our stuff, and there's a ship there, and we're like, fucking god damn it. Well, instead of killing us, like the last assholes we ran into who formed an alliance with us that immediately sunk us, these guys formed an alliance with us, and we were just chatting with them. We were like, hey, we'll give you all of the resources on our ship if you hang around for the next 20 minutes and let us get all of our PvP trophies, which were just a bunch of menial crap and some really difficult things that would have been impossible to get in the course of actual playing. You have to eat a bunch of raw food, make yourself throw it up into a bucket, and throw it on an enemy as he attacks you. That would never fucking happen in the course of the game. So these guys just put up with us getting all these bullshit trophies. They were super cool about it. I was so stoked because earlier in the day, Drew and I had jumped in and we were trying to load up into separate instances of the world, hoping that somehow, mathematically impossible, though it may be, we would get into the same server of 16 people so that we could do these with each other, because good luck doing them in the course of a regular battle. So I went to bed elated. I was like, I can't believe that worked out. They were super cool. We just were fucking around with them. Got all those trophies popped at the end of a really productive session. I mean, we played from like 8:30 to like 1, and then from like 6:30 to 12:30 a.m. Like, it was a long day of Sea of Thieves with Drew yesterday. So it's just a stupid game, and it's fun, and I put so much time into it. Chris, I'm glad you're with us. I can't imagine we could possibly get Nick to grind this out with us, but it is crossplay on PC. Not for him.
He's wearing the Rareware hat, and he is shaking his head for shame.
That company died 20 years ago.
Shame.
Yeah. Nick, you been doing any other gaming since?
No.
Nothing at all. You've been working hard on a secret project.
Secret project.
Ooh. What'd you say before the podcast? Something we'll only refer to obliquely.
Yeah, you almost fucked that up, didn't you, EJ?
Not that we haven't talked about before. We're just finally doing it.
It was a great save. Did we talk about everything? I didn't talk about Megaman X. That's the only thing I think I haven't talked about.
Oh, yes, Megaman X.
Blue balling us at the not the beach, even though you kept saying the beach, but
dude, yes,
the beach, but in wine country, getting just teased.
Oh
just
man,
a few runs with a salty finish, trying to get Sigma and just biffing it.
So,
or trying to do your boomer coinger strat that you tried to learn just by watching a video and not actually knowing what to do and not working, surprisingly.
I've only got him into that stun lock pattern once, but it was kind of elation coursing through me, because it just immediately is going to get him into his second half pattern where it's just reading the side of the room he's on and popping him every time he appears, and then that's it. It's over. Like, he literally is never going to touch again. Mega Man X, one of my top 10 games ever, maybe a top 5. I don't remember what I said in terms of ranking on the top 10. I played this game easily 50 times, which is the most I've ever played a video game ever. Like, maybe more than the rest of my top 10 put together number of times I played this game. Growing up, Nana had this on Super Nintendo, still has on Super Nintendo. My cousins, we would play this together. Ernie was older. He would give, all of our cousins were older than us, and Ernie and Michael would give us tips and be like, oh, like, actually, like Ernie's the one who told me, like, there's a heart in Storm Eagle stage. And I was like, no, there's not. No, there's not. There's no heart in Storm Eagle stage. He's got the helmet upgrade. He's got a buddy pack. There's no fucking heart. And he's like, there's a heart in Storm Eagle stage. And showed me where it was. It blew my mind that, like, your health goes past the ammo. So I, for a long time, every time I would, like, come back to Oregon, since I started living in other states in 2013 after college, I'd visit, I'd slap the cart in the SNES and do a Mega Man X playthrough. And at some point I started going, like, I've played this game so many times. I know my pathing really well. Like, I wonder how fast I could beat this game. And eventually I developed this goal for myself that I'm not a speedrunner. I just happen to know this game really well and can play it very quickly, and was like, I would love to get a sub 1 hour Mega Man X run. It's the only time I've ever had a speedrunning goal ever. I mean, it's just not something that I get into. I could see myself going so far down that hole that it becomes, like, really sick and unhealthy. And so I don't want to do it, but this is one I felt like was really achievable. And I had a few close calls before that I was on track to do probably a run that would have beaten the time that I ended up getting this week. And I tilted so fucking hard on second form Sigma and just fell apart and didn't even end up finishing that run. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bring the Mega Man X collection with me to the beach. And to Dundee. It's good. Mom and Anna were kept saying beach the whole time. We're like, beach, beach, beach. And I'm like, you guys always go to the beach. And I'm like, we've literally done this one time. Like, always does not apply in a singular instance. So anyway, I said it today, and Tiffany was like, you didn't go to the beach, did you? And I'm like, doesn't matter. Before we went to Dundee, I threw it in the Switch and did just like a shake the rust off run. and had like a pretty good run. I like a 106. I was like, this is in striking distance. It wasn't a super clean run. Boomer Kawanger gives me trouble because the pathing that I do, you fight him pretty early so that you don't have to come back to his stage. You go Chill Penguin, Storm Eagle, Flame Mammoth, so that when you get to the heart in Boomer Kawanger, you can charge ice, do a little ice sled, skip off, grab the heart, then you don't have to repeat because it's really late in the level. It's like right before the boss room. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring it because I feel like this weekend maybe I could do this. And I did 4 or 5 runs over the weekend. I had a 102 run that I had went and got Hadoken because it's supposed to shave a lot of time off your run. I didn't use it very well because I don't usually get it. And so it ended up being 102. And I was like, oh, this is totally in play. If I don't go get Hadoken, I could totally do this. And I was on the run. I was like, I got into Final Sigma with like 51 minutes on the clock. I'm like, I could totally do this. I didn't stop to refill any of my energy tanks. I was like, I don't know how long it's going to take. I want that cushion. I get in there. I fucking tilt on second form Sigma. I fucking blow it and I die. And I'm like, that was it. That was going to be it. And the crushing feeling that I experienced, like, I think EJ was cooking up shrimp tacos and we go out on the porch to eat these tacos. I'm literally like staring at my food, like just eyes down, like crushed.
No.
That was the run, and I did not have it in me the rest of the weekend to do another one. The rest of the weekend, which is like one more day.
I joked, and I now know it's because you were trying a different strat on the Booma. I was like, Chris, is this the first time you played this fucking game? Because you were just in a blender with this guy.
He is really hard to fight without his weakness. All of them are, frankly, but he's particularly difficult because of his fucking ninjutsu ass motherfucker. Like, he's dashing around the stage. He can throw his boomerang headpiece at you, and he can damage you with that. And then he dashes over to collect the boomerang, so he can damage you twice by hitting you with his physical form. If he gets too close to you, he will pick you up and throw you into the ceiling and just melt your health bar. And then in the whole second half of the fight, he's just literally like teleporting, like boom, 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 all over the arena. If you don't shoot him right when he appears, he's going to close distance. He's going to pick you up. He's going to throw you into the ceiling. Yeah, I was in a blender trying to do him with lemons without his weakness.
One of the games that I poked around with was Mega Man Legacy Collection because I kind of jokingly, but also not jokingly, after watching you do this at the beach, was like, I bet you I could learn how to speedrun this game. I bet you I could do it. Watch a couple YouTube videos, do a couple runs. Let me see if I can do it before Chris.
EJ, who has never beaten this game, period.
I fully believe I could do it. And I'm like, at first I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to upload a fucking video of me doing it and just crush Chris's entire existence. But then I was like, no. I'm just going to fucking talk some shit and poke the bear a little bit.
And I tell this man, if you get a sub-hour Mega Man X before me, I will literally give you $1,000. And EJ's like, don't make promises you can't keep. And I'm like, you've literally never beaten this game. But I know he's just talking shit.
But Chris also knows that I'm a piece of shit, and I'll go fucking watch every speedrunning video, and I'll learn it, and I'll go fucking do it. And he does not want that, so he decides.
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I don't need to rush this by any means. Like, it'll happen when it happens. I'll do some runs, whatever.
You literally have to. That's the point of the game.
But just the mere thought that maybe he's not just talking shit. I was like, I have to do this right now. I have to do this today. And so we get moved into our new apartment. The TV's plugged in, the Switch dock is, everything's all set up. I dig out my Bluetooth SNES controller for NSO members. I get it charged up and I'm like, this is going to be the magic bullet. This is going to be having that SNES controller in my hand is what's going to do it. And I rip off my best fucking run of this game ever. I did take one death on Boomer. First death on Boomer. Got him second try very handily. And when I got into Armored Armadillo, I was like, let me just fill up a couple sub-tanks. I'm going to take 2.5 minutes. I'm going to fill up my sub-tanks right now. So I don't have to do a stage revisit. I could just roll right into Sigma. I didn't even really... I ended up needing like 1 on second form Sigma, but that was it. And otherwise, no deaths, just blasted through this game. Everything was locked in. Everything was on point. I kill his fucking stupid ass dog. I take out his first form. I've got all my sub tanks. I've got rolling shield locked and loaded. And I start whittling that health bar away and I'm looking. It's like 53, 53 and a half, 54. He's getting down to like the last quarter. And I'm like, Tiffany, I need you to get your phone out. And she grabs it. She's like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, I think I'm going to do it. And she's got her phone out and she's recording. And I get that last hit and I smack the stop button and throw my hands up and I look down, it's like 56-30 or something. And I just put my face in my hands and just fucking cry. I was like, I can't believe it. The only thing I've wanted in this game, the only game I've ever felt like I was good enough at and had the knowledge at to do a halfway decent speed run in like a decade. I've been like kicking the tires on, can I break an hour? Josh and Joey are way beyond me because they use Hadoken effectively. And Joey's just full sicko mode with this game. They're at like 46, 47, whatever. But I'm like, that's all I want. That's all I want. And I fucking got it. And I just start fucking crying. Tiffany's like, what? She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I got it. And she's like, yeah. And like, I put my hands in the air and I fucking cover my face and start crying some more. I'm just like, this is just beautiful. This is just like I'm going to cherish this memory forever. Like this is just not the way I play games, but this game, I know I'm good enough at that I could do this and I fucking did it. And that kind of thing these are the moments that make gaming so awesome. Of like that like I own you. I dominated you. I destroyed you. It's not meant to happen this fast. It's not meant to be done with this degree of dexterity for a fucking casual who is not a speedrunner. And I fucking did that. And that's mine forever. Now I can just chill and just play this game once a year and be happy about it, not feel like I got this monkey on my back anymore.
Well, until EJ beats it in 56 minutes and beats your score and you gotta one up him.
I don't care. I honestly, truly don't fucking care. This is not about me versus anyone else. This is about me versus me. I got what I wanted. It's done. It's over.
Until I actually do it. I bet you could shave off like 7.5 minutes just by swapping your dash to your right bumper.
I don't think that's true at all. I maybe could take a minute off, but there's just not that many situations, surprisingly, where dashing and charging and firing at the same time is so necessary because you can double tap any direction to dash. You don't have to push the dash button. So like, yeah, I'm saving like microseconds, but 7 minutes.
It's not about dashing. It's about dash jumping. The video I watched, the guy doesn't even fight anything. He's just dash jumping to the end of the level. It's crazy. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could do that.
Well, you'd like to think so. That world record run, if we watch the same one on speedrun.net or whatever, the current world record that's like 36 minutes.
That's crazy.
He is hitting pixel perfect jumps that I literally did not even know were possible. Like, I know you look at that and you're like, oh, I could do that. Brother, I've beaten this game 50 times. I tried to do some of the shit that I saw in that run and I was like, I don't have a fucking clue how he did this, let alone did it. Every single one of these in sequence to put this run together. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like like, oh my God, his first Sigma Fortress run. There is a sheer cliff that is in cut. It is an incline. You are not supposed to be able to jump on that cliff face, and he jumps his way up that entire cliff face. Fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's the difference between playing a game 50 times and playing a game 50,000 times.
Yes, exactly.
Probably.
No, 100%. So I'm like, EJ, respectfully, if you beat my time, it's going to be by literal seconds, not by minutes, if you can ever do it.
Challenge accepted. I will climb that mountain with you, Chris.
Oh, I climbed it. I'm up here having a
EJ,
fucking picnic.
I would be surprised if you put in 56 minutes total in Megaman X.
Got him. Maybe just beat the game first, Haas, because then you can at least say you knocked out another Console Crusade Top 100. And when it takes you 3 hours, you'll go, perhaps my mouth got ahead of me.
Challenge accepted.
3 hours is generous.
Give him a little credit.
Yeah.
Once I know it, man.
He's a gunner. He's a runner. He's a gunner. He's a dasher. He's a masher. Our boy EJ, he's our master.
I'm good at games sometimes.
You are, but
What's Joe Woe think of Megaman X?
Oh man. Well, fuck news this week.
Yeah.
It's late. I'm hungry. You saw me eating pickles earlier because I was so hungry, and you said pickles, and I was like, Sarah, bring me a pickle, please. So I made a marinara sauce, homemade. Crushed the tomatoes myself. Made a little marinara for some flatbread pizzas tonight.
That's tight.
Some summer sausage, some
DJ.
mozzarella.
I gotta eat. I gotta give my wife a back massage that I owe her. And then let's sail some seas.
Click this link. Nudes in bio.